What's going on, good people? We are back. As you can see, this week there's no need for the pan out. We are running the two-man, me and my girl Courtney in the building. You already know where to follow both of us. For everything barbershop related, make sure you follow Barbershop Co. on Twitter and Instagram. Subscribe to our Patreon, patreon.com/barbershop network. 4 very affordable tiers. Most expensive is $10. For any merch, check out bcnetshop.com. And for everything going on with the network, every show, every sport, I won't even just say sports because we do entertainment as well. We got some great wrestling shows. First Black Champ, shout out to Bang. Make sure you check us out, thebcnet.com. Like I said, it is your boy Dante and Courtney. Courtney, how you feeling? It is a lot of good baseball coming up. It is September, one of our favorite times of the year.
Correct.
Easy, correct. We're in a small minority here, but it's about that time.
I mean, we're like about to reach, for me personally, that perfect point of the year where like football and the best part of baseball season and then the beginning of hockey season are all about to intersect. And I could not be more thrilled to have all my favorite sports back on TV. So excited.
A lot of people don't know this. Well, if you know my birthday, you know this. But if you're a sports fan, the middle and end of September going into October is always special because the first week of October is one of the few times where you have every major sport playing at the same time. Even though it's only NBA preseason, you will have all 4 major sports in America playing at the exact same time. I love it, and I'm really excited. Before we get into our playoff look, because we're going to look at the wild card teams today, we're going to do a little updates about 2 teams that do not have playoff aspirations this year, but 2 teams that are very near and dear to my heart. Of course, we're going to start out with the one that I cover, the Atlanta Braves. The month has started off rough for the Braves. They've had 3 series. They've won 3 games. They've lost 2 out of 3 in each series. As we all know, right now it's more so just finding what you can for 2026 and finding those silver linings. Spencer Strider has put together a few good starts in a row. The velocity still isn't there. And this was something in the press box that I had some concerns about because, remember, he didn't go for the full Tommy John repair. He just got the internal brace. And the numbers around guys who have gotten the internal brace is not that good. So seeing him put some starts together has been good. But, that pitching staff has still been Chris Sale and whoever else you can find, essentially. So he's been playing well, but that, like I said, that's the one consistent from that staff. And your manager. Lately, we've had some news, some back and forth, some trepidation. Some people saying, he's definitely going to walk away. Somebody finally asked Brian Snitker, and he said, Courtney, he has unfinished business, which I don't know what that could possibly be. But before I ask my next question, which I already know your answer to because it's an idiotic question in itself, how do you feel about Brian Snitker? Is this the perfect time for him to walk away, or should he try to run it back one more time?
100%. I think it's time to hang up the cleats, if you will. And again, to double down on what you said, Alex Anthopoulos, when he was asked about this, he said, "Oh, he's not going anywhere." Like that's like we haven't even looked into pursuing a new manager like that. He's their guy. They're loyal to him. And I respect that. In an industry that, it's across all sports, right? Where, it is a business, there doesn't really seem to be any loyalty. I can admire someone having loyalty towards someone that's been with an organization for 49, 50 years at this point? Correct me if I'm wrong.
It's been a minute. It's
correct.
We're decades in at this point.
Correct. I admire that loyalty, but at a certain point, you also have to recognize that maybe a different voice is needed at the helm. And this is not a new discussion. Obviously, it's been amplified by the fact that the Braves have not been very good this season. And by very good, I mean awful. Remind me of the Braves record right now?
The Atlanta Braves are currently
65-81, maybe.
Wait, where's that? Where did they go? Damn, they're that bad. Hold on. Yeah, they're 65-81. They are 65-81.
So the Braves are 65-81 right now. It has been a really, really bad season for the Braves. And I understand this desire to want to go out on a high note. But I mean, you have to even think historically about older managers that have tried to do the same thing, come back for their swan song. And not that many guys have been able to do that. The first one that comes to mind is Tony La Russa, who was able to do that and then go out. And then, naturally we know how the rest of that story goes because he did come back and that didn't exactly have a good outcome with the work that he tried to do on the South Side. But yeah, if I'm Brian Snitker, I really do think it's time to pack it up. Again, beyond sort of like the older managerial philosophy, right? That he doesn't necessarily maybe mirror some um, the more analytical shift that baseball is seeing right now. It just feels like we need a new voice in there. We need a new voice in there. All the drama that went on this season with Ronnie and tweets and social media, I think a new voice is needed, especially if you don't want to lose out on your best players. And I know we're going to talk about that right now.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. I agree. And I think it's one of those things. It's funny because I believe there are a lot of parallels between the Yankees and the Braves, including the way that the front offices carry themselves and how they feel about that team as a whole. But people who don't live in the South, Braves country is very much a thing. We are the team of the Bible Belt. Outside of Florida, there aren't any other baseball teams if you go east or west of us. So they truly operate like the Yankees of the South. Before Brian Snicker, it was Brian Cox, and he was allowed to walk away when he wanted to walk away. And so I think they're going to do the exact same thing with Schnick, even if it's a situation where, pretty much since the World Series. Also, 2023 was amazing, but you flamed out in the first round of the playoffs. So it's one of those situations where this gives you the perfect out. So I was really shocked at what Alex said, even though I understand the respect factor. The fact that he's just flat out saying, no, he's coming back.
I feel like you should at least explore the possibility, right? Or before you speak publicly, maybe do like a temperature check of like the guys in the clubhouse, the guys you've signed a lot of guys to extended contracts. Austin Riley, Ronald Acuna Jr. You have these guys on these contracts. You don't think to get like maybe like a pulse check on their thoughts? Yeah. Again, I know this is a business, and I know you want to be loyal towards someone who has been around longer than any of those guys in the clubhouse, that are playing have been. But like at a certain point, loyalty don't win you divisions. I know that used to be what Snit and the Braves hung their hat on, but that doesn't win you ball games. It doesn't. No,
you're absolutely right. And it's one of those things where it's like you have to, plan for your future. And like I hate to bring politics into stuff, but kind of like with the Democratic Party, when you have an older leader and then you don't set up the successor, things can go off the rails. Correct. And so speaking of off the rails, we've had some crazy comments about people who play for this current team. Obviously, like you said, it's a bad year, it's a down year, but people, as they always do on social media and even, national media, they have to ask questions, pose questions to just do some little temperature checks. And so one thing that happened on MLB Network is they said, should this team trade Ronald Acuna Jr.? He's your most valuable asset. You can get the most back for him. It's just a situation where if you wanted to reshuffle the deck, that's the guy you move. And one of the things that I didn't like is they made the statement, well, they won a World Series without him. Ronald Acuna played 82 games that year. He had a 990 OPS and 24 home runs. Don't say he didn't play. Correct. Like he contributed. He did not contribute in the World Series, but he did contribute. Also, they won a World Series with the core that's not here anymore. Whether it's Freddie, Dansby, Soler, all the guys who got hot, Jock, they're not here anymore. So it's a completely different ball club. So the idea of trading him to me is complete lunacy when he's on a team-friendly deal and you realistically only going to have to pay him one time. Like the first deal you got to bail out.
Let's be real. That deal has already paid for itself.
Again,
that deal has been paid off.
And with the money they get from the damn from the battery, absolutely. Correct. Like you're making money.
That deal is already paid off. And again, I understand that we're in the era where like even MLB Network, which is the armchair network of Major League Baseball, I understand even everybody's engagement baiting nowadays. It feels like everything is like rage bait because it doesn't even make sense. In that same breath, when they were having that discussion about Ronnie, they were also saying that, they treat Jurickson Profar better than they treat Ronnie. What? Huh? What are you talking about? That's a crazy thing to say. Again, I know that Ronald Acuna Jr. is an outspoken guy. He's going to say how he feels, and as he should, right? Like you're the star of that team, regardless of whether or not he's had, setbacks that maybe didn't benefit the Braves this season. I mean, a lot of people on that team have had setbacks this season, but again, you're the star. It's always going to fall back on you. But man, I think that would just be, like you said, complete lunacy to even entertain trading Ronald Acuna Jr. That's like organizational malpractice at its finest.
Yeah, I just don't see how you could, even fix your face to say, do we trade the top 5 player in baseball? I understand, the injury bug, and especially because I always say Ronnie gets basketball injuries. It's always it's just an ACL. It's that's like, bro, what the hell is going on? But no, I just think with his talent and the ability, I understand when you've had the history of winning that this franchise has. A losing season like this can rattle some people. And now you're like, okay, what do we do? But no, I appreciate Alex for saying, stay the course. We're going to do this and the third. I do think with your pitching, you have to make some changes simply because some of the arms you were banking on that came up aren't the arms you thought they were. Ronaldo Lopez, we still don't know what's going on with him. And he was coming off his first really, he was okay in the bullpen. He was solid. He was coming off his first really good season where he made an all-star team. So even with that, the consistency hasn't been there. And then I look at Spencer. Chris Sale is getting older. Chris Sale is still dominant, still a great pitcher, but he's getting older. And so you have to ask yourself, there are some pieces, even if we don't rebuild, that there should be a serious consideration to retool in this roster. Just so you can go back and compete because
that division is not getting any easier.
What's bro name? The owner in New York?
Steve Cohen.
I almost called him Scott Boras. Steve Cohen is gonna spend money. Like
correct.
This is gonna happen.
There's no
the Phillies
shortage of that
have been good. Yes, the Phillies have been good and continue to be good. So they're gonna find a way.
You have people in New York that aren't even satisfied with the moves that the Mets have made, saying that they're disappointed that Steve Cohen hasn't spent more money on pitching. Now, mind you, a lot of those decisions that I wish our dear friend Sid were here so we could unpack that more. But yeah, like you said, that division's not getting any easier. I know you've got the lowly Nationals in there that you can like beat up on a few times a year, but like it's not getting any easier to win that division. And the NL as a whole, even to try to sneak in and get a wild card spot is not as easy as it used to be when you have to compete with the Diamondbacks, the Padres, and that's just the NL West alone. You got to think about all the other divisions to factor in now. The NL Central with the Cubs. I know the Brewers are running away with that division, but you also have to factor in the Cubs. It's just there is a lot of competition in the NL now, and I just don't see how maintaining the same leadership that has respectfully put you in the situation that you're in now, how that gets you closer to resolving the unfinished business that Snicker is speaking of.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, it's a lot of question marks. We love him. He's a brave guy. He's Ronnie's best friend, but what are you going to do with Ozzie Albies? He has a $5 million option coming up this offseason. There was some talk about possibly moving him. But if you move him, what do you get him for? We know how people – I only say this because I played second base. People disrespect the second base position. Like they try to just shrug it off. But I mean,
same with first base.
What do? You've locked in Matt. You've locked in Austin, who you expect to bounce back. He wasn't having the greatest season before he got hurt, so it's just a lot of question marks on this team. But I think it's something that the panic is due to the history of success, and that's a good thing. When you have a history of sustained success, the minute you start losing, people are like, okay, what the hell is going on around here? And I don't have a problem with that. So that's something we're gonna have to monitor and really, really keep an eye on. And now let's talk about another team, a team near and dear to my heart. They put me through the ringer a lot. It's a lot of negative talk in our group chat. We're not going to talk about that because guess what, ladies and gentlemen, the Chicago White Sox are about to win 60 games this year after posting the worst record in MLB history. And everybody's been trying to tell me I can't be happy about this. And I'm telling you, you are wrong. I watched some of the worst.
Be happy about the White Sox.
I watched some of the worst baseball of my life last year. It was ridiculous. And they still messed up something this year. We ain't gonna let them out that easy. However, since the All-Star break, the Chicago White Sox have been one of the most exciting teams in baseball and one of the most potent offenses in baseball. I got a few stats before we run into it because Courtney, I want to talk to you about just the rebuild process as a whole, because as White Sox fans, we are still scoring from our last rebuild, which started 2019. And it started actually with the exact same team. This time, instead of trading Chris Sale to the Red Sox, we traded Gary Crochet to the Red Sox for a stack of prospects. But this time, the results are a lot more positive and a lot quicker than last time. I will say that because there was still a wait for Moncada. There still was a wait for Giolito. We still didn't know what we had exactly, but so far and this time we got more playing position players as opposed to pitchers, which is something that we needed. Like we've been drafting a lot of pitchers. As we know, Noah Schultz is in the farm system. He's the number one lefty in baseball right now. We got some guys. I'm loving that. Shane Smith, Rule 5 draft pick. Great guy. I talked to him at the All-Star game. He was really cool. He's played well and he's a part of this team's future. But let's talk about the position players for a minute. So far, second, and now mind you, this is just the second half, so small sample size, so we're not going to go too crazy. From the catcher position, the shortstop position, and second base, the Chicago White Sox have gotten top 5 WAR production from those 3 positions. And as we all know, catcher and shortstop are extremely important.
Yep.
Those are both, they have been the second most productive duo. And we're talking about Kyle Teel.
Where's the smile on your face, Dante?
I'm talking about Kyle Teel. I haven't been able to talk about this team in a good light for so long. It's crazy. Kyle Teel playing catcher, holding down. Edgar Curto, they swap out between catcher and DH, but they're both.
Speaking of, I think Carroll's at bat right now. I'm watching the game in the background.
You know, Kyle Teel just hit that pinch hit 2-run homer. Shout out to my boy.
Yeah, I saw that.
See, and of course,
times like this,
baby Corey Seager. I got nervous for a minute when he was struggling. They sent him down to Arizona to work on his swing, and Colson Montgomery has been as advertised. He's been that left-handed power bat that this team needs, and the pace he's on right now, he's on like a 56 home run pace. I'm not expecting that for a season. This was a guy that I told Mikey, I told you this. If I could have got 25 to 30 home runs from him in a complete 162 game season, I'm okay with that. But the fact that you're going to surpass 20 in not even half of the season since the All-Star break, that gives me a lot to be hopeful for, because
you should feel hopeful. You should absolutely feel hopeful. It kind of feels almost like, and I feel like I gotta like knock on wood a little bit before I say it. It feels almost like this team, this batch of prospects might be the one. They might be the one.
I'm gonna give you a few more stats. Like I said, Shane Smith here since August 1st, 3.26 ERA, 0.96 WHIP, 1.63 average. Let's go Chase Meredith. We talk about the second base position.
Yeah.
324 average, 400 on base percentage. His OPS is 808. My boy, Colson Montgomery, 13 home runs, 28 RBIs, 863 OPS. And of course, this is old because he now has 18 home runs.
Correct. Like, don't let him play a full season, because then we got to start talking about American League Rookie of the Year contention. I wish I could put him in that same discussion right now, because honestly, he's been incredible. Colson Montgomery has been incredible. And I think it was Dan Plesac, actually, who he was talking about the White Sox. He said it feels like the Sox, even when they're bad, it's like they almost always have a guy, Yeah. In this case, Jermaine Dye, I think he mentioned Jermaine Dye, Robin Ventura, Colson Montgomery being mentioned in the same breath is something that I'm sure you as a White Sox fan probably used to pray for in all those downtrodden years, especially last season, considering how bad the White Sox were. I mean, it was legitimately unwatchable baseball happening on the South Side. So yeah, you should feel very hopeful. And even AJ Hinch, current manager of the Detroit Tigers, said the same thing. He's like, it's a little scary, isn't it? He's like, you got to watch out for that team on the South Side now, because this is not the same Chicago White Sox team that we're even next season that we're going to see. This team next season, you're not just going to go into Chicago, or Chicago's not going to come to you, and you're not just going to beat up on them every game.
Yes,
I think those days are over. That might be the Minnesota Twins job now.
Absolutely. And we have 2 prospects this year that played in the futures game, Noah Schultz, Braden Montgomery. So we have more talent in the pipeline. And this one is more so a future down the line thing. But I know there was a report today about them signing the top Dominican prospect in the international. He's 12 years old. He looks like he's
which is crazy, by the way.
Yeah. We're not even going
the labor and morality issues behind signing 12-year-olds.
Yeah, but the reason that the date struck me is because, as we all know, my majority owner Jerry Reinsdorf has entered a deal with
Raston Basker, by the way, is his name.
Okay. Basker. Okay. We got Jerry Reinsdorf, who has entered a deal with the Ishbia brothers, that Justin Ishbia rather, that he will eventually pass over majority ownership to the Ishbia brothers. Now that is important because that's going to come with a very large influx of cash. For those who don't know, I've said this several times, you've heard it. Justin Ishbia just built a house in Chicago that costs more than the largest contract we've ever given a player. His house is worth $80 million. The most we've ever given somebody is $79 million.
That's crazy.
I can't even call it house. His compound. Let me not call it a house. It was Benintendi, yes.
That's what I thought.
So you may have not only a nice young core, but an influx of cash from an owner who we've seen the way his brother operates. They want to spend, they want to win, they want their fans to be happy. So it's been tough on the South Side for a while, and we're not going to talk about losing baseball teams too much longer. We're about to get into our wild card preview, but ladies and gentlemen,
did you just hit a dong? Did you hit a dong?
I hit my mic stand.
Oh, I was like, you have a dong on your desk? That's crazy.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are close. I told you we were pulling up on Fun Bad Boulevard. I think we might be in the parking lot.
You're in the intersection, ghost riding the whip and doing donuts right now.
Listen to me. I'm excited. I'm going to stop because getting this excited about a 60-win team is ridiculous. So I'm going to stop being a fan. And let's get into our wild card
preview. That's called hope, baby. Cherish it. Enjoy it. Bottle this up right now. If you guys get off to you start next season 2-12, you know, remember this time right now.
Remember the good times.
Harness it. This is what joy feels like. And so it is.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. But let's get into this wild card preview. We know, it's about most teams have anywhere from 15 to 17 games left. Man, this is really getting down to the wire. We're gonna stay in Chicago. We're gonna start with the National League. Right now, the Chicago Cubs lead the NL wild card. They are 7 games up they're 7 games up. The San Diego Padres are 3 games up on the New York Mets, and the Cincinnati Reds are 2 games behind the Mets for the final spot. The San Francisco Giants are 2 games behind them, and the Diamondbacks are 3.5. St. Louis is 4.5, but anybody I'm going to stick with the people who are, 3 to 3.5 games back, just given.
I'm really locked in. I'm locked in on Cincinnati and San Francisco.
Okay, talk to me.
Which I'm super disappointed. I will say, listen, I'm a Dodger fan, so I can't be too upset that the Giants decided that they wanted to go into sell mode at the deadline while still also now decided that the past month and a half that they wanted to play half decent baseball. And again, it makes you wonder, wow, why do more teams and more leadership in these front offices not have maybe a little bit more faith in their team that they do have? Because we wouldn't even be having this discussion right now. I'd like to think if the Giants put themselves in a better position and maybe made more acquisitions at the deadline. That being said, the Mets have been playing truly brutal baseball.
Yes.
It's not been pretty. And I shout out to my boy Sid. Love you, Sid. If you're listening to this, I'm so sorry I had to do it to you. The Mets have been terrible. And if we could give out awards and World Series for we played the best baseball in June, first place to the New York Mets. Unfortunately, the season does not end until the regular season, does not end until the end of September. And the Mets have just not been playing good baseball, and they've kind of been playing with their food to a degree. A lot of teams have been playing with their food, and that's what's allowed Cincinnati and the Giants to both remain to hanging in there. I forgot who owns the wild card. So technically that 2-game lead for Cincinnati, I think, is more like 2.5. And then that lead for the 2.5 games back for the Giants, I think is technically more like 2.5 or 3. So just keep that in mind. But I'm a little disappointed by the Mets. And again, we'll talk about it in a little bit when we go into our series to watch. But there's a lot of important games left to be played here. Cincinnati has 3 games versus the A's, 3 versus St. Louis, 4 versus Chicago, 3 versus Pittsburgh, and 3 versus Milwaukee. And that's the Chicago Cubs, to be clear, not the Chicago White Sox. The Giants have 3 against the Dodgers, 3 against the Diamondbacks, 3 against the Dodgers again, 3 versus St. Louis, and 3 versus Colorado. So that's 6 games against LA that the Giants have to play. Godspeed. And the Mets have 3 versus Texas coming up this weekend, which is actually my series to watch. 3 versus San Diego, 3 versus Washington, 3 versus Chicago Cubs, and 3 versus Miami. I'd say probably the worst out of all that, besides the Giants, I'd say Cincinnati probably has it worse because they have a couple series where they have no days off in between some of those series. So it's going to be a lot of baseball, a lot of brutal travel for them. I still think the Mets make the playoffs. Out of those 3 teams, I think the Mets are going to win, shore up that 3rd wild card spot. But I'm not feeling too good about it. And to be
quick,
clear, yeah, what's up?
No, I would say before, because you just mentioned the strength of schedule. I just pulled it up. Yeah, that is Cincinnati. That is a tough schedule.
That's a brutal stretch. Because also keep in mind, if you think you hear the A's and you're like, oh, it's just the A's, like the A's aren't doing some like weird Vegas, Sacramento, Oakland, Fremont, devil voodoo magic that also like somehow allows them to put up 12 runs a game. Anything could happen when you play the A's. The Angels too. I feel like sometimes these teams that aren't going to make the playoffs like have this weird freakish voodoo magic about them that allow them to like solely for the purpose of derailing their ops. That's how I feel. So definitely don't sleep on those series, the LA Angels series or the Oakland, Sacramento, Fremont, Vegas A's series. I really don't know what to call them, so that's just what I call them.
Yeah, no, it's not only that because I'm like I said, they have the whole strength of schedule. I breeze right past the Diamondbacks. That's a tough stretch, bro, for somebody that's trying to actually get back into it.
Yep.
That's gonna be interesting. I mean, I still think.
And to be clear, because I looked it up because I wanted to see what the postseason picture looked like. If the postseason started today, the Mets would be playing the Dodgers. The Padres would be playing the Cubs. No, thank you. Boston Yankees, which would be absolute cinema on the AL side. Yankee Sox, and then Astros Mariners playing each other. Ooh.
Yes.
Good luck.
Yeah.
Good luck to everyone. I mean, elite baseball, to be clear. Like Red Sox Yankees would feed generations. I would be strapped into like immediately tethered to my TV. I'm not going anywhere. Yeah. Football wear. But like that's going to be elite.
No, you're absolutely right. American League, it's a little closer. It's a little closer, at least in that big 3, the 3 teams that actually get a wild card spot. There's going to be a little more movement in the American League. Before you get going, let me just run down real quick. The Yankees currently hold the first wild card spot. They're tied with the Boston Red Sox. They're both 2.5 games up on the Seattle Mariners. The Texas Rangers are a game and a half back. The Cleveland Guardians are 3.5 back. Kansas City's 4 back, but that we just the top 3. I'm not really worried about Kansas City. I
really just have all eyes are on Arlington, Texas, right down the road.
100%. 100%.
They really, again, I have their schedule as well. They have a 3-game set against the Mets this weekend. Then they got to go to Houston. They have a 3-game set there. 3 against Miami, 3 against Minnesota, 3 against Cleveland. Cruising. Now, mind you, you could lose some ground if you obviously fuck around. Pardon my language. If you mess around in that series against Houston, you could really lose some ground in that AL race, especially since, the division is not out of thought yet. There's still a lot of games to be played. So beyond the wild card, the division is still at stake for the Mariners, the Astros, and the Rangers. Houston's schedule is kind of brutal to end the season. 3 versus Atlanta this weekend, 3 versus Texas at home. They still have 3 versus Seattle, 3 versus the A's, and 3 versus the Angels. So a lot of divisional opponents. Again, I mentioned it earlier. You've got teams that sometimes want to just stomp on the grave while they can. They don't have anything to play for, so why not? The Astros are also very beat up right now. They are not playing very good baseball. Luis Garcia came back. He was pitching really well. He's hurt again now. Their pitching staff is basically Hunter Brown and a bunch of dudes. It's not looking good for Houston in that regard. I would like to say that they'll win this division, but I don't know. I'm not feeling like they're going to win this division. I feel like the Mariners are going to end up winning this division, and I think the Rangers might sneak in there just solely based off the end of their schedule And the way the end of the season schedule shapes out, I think the Rangers might slide in there and get that third wild card spot.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. I think, there's been some ups and downs with the Guardians. They still have, of the contending teams left in the American League, they have the worst run differential. They're negative 39. So that's a team that, I'm not really concerned with them. But I'm looking at the strength of schedule remaining. Not only could the Yankees end up winning the division, I'll say this: the Boston Red Sox could fall completely out of this. Like, they have the fourth toughest schedule left in baseball. They have 3 against Detroit.
Yes. Their pitching is a question mark. It's a giant question mark.
Anytime you're releasing guys you just signed, it's like, okay, we gotta do something. But no, they have 3 left against Detroit, 3 against Toronto, 3 against New York. So that's a lot of division battles left. 6 games left against the division with 15 to go. That's gonna be tough when you can't get guys out. Like, I don't care how many runs you score, when you can't get guys out and you're also playing team. Because, like, let's be real, I checked it the other day. I thought it was a typo. When you got guys like Aaron Judge with OPS plus of like 205 and shit like that, you don't want to get into a slugfest with them. That's not what you want to do.
Their bullpen has been terrible. I know the Yankees made some solid deadline acquisitions that everybody was really happy about. And like they've got a couple, like David Bednar has actually been pretty good, but Jake Bird, I'm pretty sure, got demoted to AAA. Camilo Doval has an ERA of like 6.4 or 5, something absurd like that. They just had 2 disgusting bullpen meltdowns. The Yankees have not been very good. The Yankees have been not very good at all.
It's been the Aaron Judge show, and that's it. And like I talk about the parallels between the Braves and the Yankees. If the Yankees lose again, I know Aaron Bones' job is safe, but at one point, is it not safe? At what point do we finally sit here and say, hey, we might need a new voice in here? Like, it's not. I understand you played for the team. I understand the history you have in New York. I get that. I respect it. So I'm not saying disrespect the man, but when do we get to a point, the same way we asked this question about Dave Roberts, who's won 2 World Series? When do we get to a point where it's like, all right, bro, we need somebody else? Or is it just, hey, we know who we are. We're fine with just making the playoffs, making a lot of money, and going home. If that's what it is, then obviously they would never relay that to the fans. But it's something that I just don't see. I'd
like to clarify, Camilo Doval has a 6.59 ERA, not 6.45. So worse. Actually.
Yeah.
And the Yankees literally had 2 straight games of allowing 9 or more consecutive runs.
Oh, no, yeah, they were getting smoked out here. Right.
Smoked. Absolutely just brutalized.
That American League wild card race is going to be really, really exciting, and I'm looking forward to it. Speaking of the wild card races, we're going to get into our series to watch. I'm going to go first simply because mine only has one team with playoff implications here. I'm talking about the Houston Astros are coming to town to play the Atlanta Braves. And if you're the Astros, you got to start stacking some wins. Right? And this is a place to do it. This is right where you want to be with this team, but you want to keep as much space as you can between those other teams. And so when you have an opportunity to play a team like Atlanta, which, like I said, is clearly playing for 2026, they're just right now in a space where they are trying to see what we're keeping, see what we're getting rid of, and how we're going to do this. If you're the Astros, you need to come into town and take care of business. The Braves have lost 2 out of 3 in 3 consecutive series, and you need to make sure you're number 4. Like, it's really that simple. That's the mentality you should have coming into the building this week. As for the Braves, like I said, the pitching probables are not that exciting. You got Hurston Waldrop going game 1. He's been solid for the Braves. One of the few bright spots in that staff. Bryce Elder has, I feel like, in my opinion, done a lot of heavy lifting this year that he is not equipped to do and shouldn't have to be asked to do. You got Bryce going in game 2, and then game 3 you got Joey Wentz, who he's trying. You get an E for effort, but I mean, there hasn't been a lot of success there this season. So I mean, I think, like I said, if you're the Houston Astros, you need to come into town and take care of business. So that's my series to watch. Courtney, what you got?
My series to watch is one that has massive wild card implications for both teams. Rangers Mets. Friday, we got Jacob deGrom versus Jonah Tong. Saturday, Patrick Corbin versus Sid's favorite, Brandon Sproat. And then Jacob Latz versus Nolan McLean. It is going to be a fantastic series. The Rangers need to win every single game. There is no margin for effort in this American League right now. Obviously, the Mets need to win every game as well. So we'll see who we get. The Rangers did just sweep the Milwaukee Brewers, the MLB's best team. Pardon me, I hate when people say the MLB. Best MLB's best team in the entirety of the season. They're likely going to shore up the 1 seed here. They've been fantastic, and the Rangers did just sweep them. And they did that without Corey Seager, without Marcus Semien, without Adolis Garcia, without Nathan Eovaldi. It's just been a sort of next man up mentality that they've adopted. And it's going to be a fantastic series. And I'm sorry, Sid, I hate to do it to you, but I feel like we might got to break the brooms out again this weekend. It's in Arlington. It's in
Arlington? Oh, yeah.
It's in Arlington.
Yeah, the Mets. Juan Soto's having one of the greatest nobody gives a damn seasons.
I'm a liar. It's at City.
Okay. But either way, it's gonna be a great series regardless. I do think it's crazy that despite the fact he's 30-30, 110, he's having an amazing season that absolutely nobody cares about. And that just shows you how much people disrespect teams in New York that are not the Yankees. Yep. If you ain't the Yankees or the Knicks, bro, they don't really care. Like, I know a few Mets fans who have spoken about it, but this man is having an amazing season, and people are like, yeah, well, okay. But no, it's gonna be an amazing weekend for baseball. This home stretch is gonna be really good, and I'm excited because the week leading up to my birthday is, of course, the wild card series. And that's somebody being me, is off for 9 days. So
yes,
I'm going to find myself in somebody's ballpark. I'm really looking forward to that. Courtney,
if the Rangers make the playoffs,
I will be in Arlington. I'll say that right now.
In Arlington,
if they make it, we're going to Arlington. We're gonna make it happen.
Absolutely.
So no, it was a pleasure running the 2-man with you today. We got this done. It actually was damn near the same length as every other episode we do. So
Correct.
That was perfect.
Look at us. We're some real yappers.
That was perfect.
We did call ourselves yapper, but we be yapping, Dante.
I actually got a good 10 minutes to talk about the White Sox. I don't get that often. I really enjoyed that. But no, man, make sure you go follow us. Follow me at October's on Tay on Twitter and Instagram. Follow Courtney, 1-800-CALLER, bro. By the way, Courtney, I got to shout you out. You've been doing a great job with these bar videos. A lot of good college football coverage. I can only imagine the stuff that you can't show us.
Correct. You have no idea what people say to me. It's like people feel so emboldened as soon as they get their hand around a mini mic. The craziness that people say, and just having to clip that up and make it as family friendly adjacent as possible has been a good time. We're gonna be back at it again this weekend. Next weekend, I will be live, boots on the ground, pun intended, because I will be wearing cowboy boots and a cowboy hat for the last Skillet Bowl. That is the SMU TCU game. It's the last one that's being played in Fort Worth for, quite some time, because they're not playing each other anytime soon. So it's a historic rivalry down here in North Texas, and I can't wait to get out and talk to some fans.
Oh, no, that's going to be very exciting. Y'all make sure y'all tap in with that. As we always say to close, follow the Barbershare at Barbershare Cole on Twitter and Instagram. Subscribe to our Patreon, patreon.com/Barbershare Network. 4 very affordable tiers. Any merch, bcnetshop.com. And for everything else we got going, make sure you check out the bcnet.com. It was great. Episode 18 is in the books, and we will talk to you all next week.